guys, welcome to another weekly vlog. So right now I am waiting for the Brittany Cavallaro and Emily, I don't remember what her name is, the authors of Hello Girls. I found out like 2 days ago that they were having a signing in my hometown, and that has never happened before, so I'm really excited. I am also, which honestly I'm even more excited about, I am meeting Allie from Allie Corbiere Books, and I am also super excited. I haven't read Hello Girls, but I did just finish A Study in Charlotte, which I will talk to you guys about after the signing and everything. Hopefully I can record some of the signing and we get like good seats and it's not super awkward. So that's the plan. Hi guys, I'm with Allie.
Oh, hey.
And look at what she got.
I was pressured. I was forced.
Absolutely. And she's gonna love it. And it's amazing.
And
taste.
if I don't, then I'm just wrong. And
Yeah.
I have the worst taste.
Facts. We love a self-aware queen. And that's that on that.
My name is Brittany Cavallaro. This is Emily Henry, and I'm the author of the Charlotte Holmes series, A Study in Charlotte, and some books after that.
And I usually, in the past, have written standalone, sort of genre-slanted novels. And after this, my next project is totally different. I have an adult rom-com.
Hello Girls is the story of Winona and Lucille. They are two best friends in northern Michigan, and they both have home lives that are pretty rough. And they meet outside of the police station trying to decide if they're going to report some of the stuff that's been happening to them. And they decide, no, there's only a few more months till graduation. We're going to rough it out, we're going to make it. But then a really terrible night happens, maybe a week or so before they're about to get out of town, and they decide that it has to be now. And they need $3 grand and maybe a red convertible. And they're going to go off to Vegas to try to find one of their mothers.
As a side note, if you're ever trying to run away, you probably don't want a red convertible.
Yeah, I think they're probably less showing cars, right? Like you probably want like
minivan,
silver,
yeah.
like a silver Mazda
Yeah.
or something, right? Like I think you'd be fine. I wrote the character of Lucille Price. She is 17 years old, 18 years old. She's 18. She's 18. That's a big deal, actually. She's 18. Her dad has left the family to go drill for oil in South Dakota and not come back. Her mom is working a bunch of jobs trying to make some ends meet. Lucille is working full-time after school as a waitress, and she has an older brother who is spending all of his time on the couch in like a fake Craigslist cast. Marcus, her brother, is kind of malingering on the couch, not helping out, stealing money from his sister, and as Lucille finds out at the beginning of the book, he's dealing date rape drugs out the back door. And this is not a good situation. And that's the point when she decides, like, you know what, I can't be here any longer. I'm gonna steal his stash so I can get rid of it, and I am going to get out of town. Yeah. And she has a best friend.
Yes, so I wrote the character of Winona, the short little bob and bangs over here. Winona comes from a very, very, very different background. She is the only daughter of the beloved town weatherman, which also is a thing, and we had this like grand realization last night. Again, you kind of like learn about your book as you tour for it and have to say the same things over and over again. We've like grown up in towns that had beloved town weathermen.
Yeah, middle of nowhere, Illinois. There
Yeah.
are like two celebrities, and one of them is the guy who's like, it's gonna rain tomorrow, right? And you see him out like at a restaurant, and you're like, it's him,
the
it's him.
weatherman.
Oh my gosh.
And last night we were talking to a group of people in LA, and we were like explaining the beloved town weatherman, and we were like, oh, it's because outside of LA, the only person allowed on TV is the weatherman. So we're like, you're the most famous person in all of like
Sangamon County,
yeah,
Illinois.
Yeah. So she's the daughter of the beloved town weatherman. He's very charming. He's the guy who tips like 400% when he comes in to eat at your restaurant. He's, you know, just really, really generous. He's a philanthropist. He donates money to all of these great causes.
Money that he's gotten from his dead wife's family.
His dead wife's family. And yeah, so she's sort of this like trophy daughter, which is like much creepier than the trophy wife. She dresses like a politician's wife. She gets perfect grades. She's very reserved. She's very in control. She's basically this living piece of art who is an accessory to his lifestyle, who is, on a pedestal in his home. And everyone, thinks so highly of him, but behind closed doors, he's very, very controlling. He's very abusive. She's just coming to terms with the fact that he is abusive and accepting that that is the correct word for the way that he
not
controls
particular,
her life.
but abusive.
And so then she meets Lucille, and obviously Lucille comes from the other side of the tracks and is very much not someone that her father, Stormy Olsen, wants his daughter hanging around with. And they have to kind of develop a complex system for how they can see each other outside of school. But Lucille really becomes a lifeline to her, and it's very much a found family kind of story, like a very intense friendship, the kind that happens when you really have to rely on someone, especially, you know, when you don't have that strong support system within your family.
Yeah, and so the two of them, one night when Winona's going through her dad's drawers, she finds a letter that's addressed to her from her mother, proving that maybe her mother isn't dead after all, maybe she just ran off to try to escape her husband, and it seems like if Winona and Lucille are going to run away, that's where they should run to, and that's the beginning of our novel. So our two heroines hitting the road and then making increasingly terrible decisions in their car as they try to figure out how to pay for gas money in motels all the way to Las Vegas, especially when Winona's dad and Lucille's brother start coming after them. And so it's kind of it's funny, we wrote it and we sent it to our publisher, and our publisher was like, it's sort of like Thelma and Louise, and we were like, it's sort of like Thelma and Louise. It's a book that came out of our friendship.
It really mirrors it in many ways, minus the crime. Like, we don't do that crime stuff very often in our lives. But we met because we shared the same literary agent, and she would talk to us and have these long-winded conversations I'm sure you can't imagine. And
we're both very quiet people.
Yes, very reserved. And sometimes when she would be talking to us each individually, she'd be like, you really remind me of my other client, and I sometimes like forget who I'm talking to and
check
have to
the
like
phone and be
double
like,
check.
Emily,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and she was like, so maybe like you could put some of this energy into talking to each other. She didn't say it that way, but
she was very nice about it, but that was the implicit,
yeah. So we kind of connected over email, I think.
Yeah, and we were texting, and like 9 days later, like literally 9 days later, 9 days of like talking 12 hours a day.
Whirlwind romance.
Yes. She bought a plane ticket to come visit me, and it was like February, and it was like, okay, yeah, let's just go away for a week. Let's, go to a cabin in the woods, and we'll like write, and it'll be really fun. And the plane landed, and I picked her up. It was like
in
10 o'clock at night.
Wisconsin in February.
Yeah, like,
which means you're basically like on Mars. Like, it's just snow everywhere.
It looks like an ice planet from like a Star Wars movie. And so we're like driving into the dark, and the snow is like driving at us.
Kind
and
of
we're
going
still,
sideways.
Yes, exactly. And we're still talking nonstop. It's been like, weeks at this point. But we woke up in the morning and we just looked at each other, and we somehow concocted a plan to drive around Wisconsin visiting all of our favorite bookstores for the next couple days.
So what if instead of these like carefully laid plans for which I purchased a plane ticket, we just like got in the car without absolutely
went
no
to the
idea
Appleton
what we were
Barnes and
doing.
Noble and the Green Bay Barnes and Noble and Boswell Books in Milwaukee, and talking. We would eventually have to stop for gas, or we'd go into a restaurant, or we'd stop at a hotel, and we would go into wherever we were, and immediately the clerk would look at us every time, and the clerk would say,
this is not an exaggeration, 100% of the time,
hello girls. Hello girls, how are you girls doing? And I had just like finished telling her about like the thing I'm most afraid of in the world, or like my thoughts on death and what happens when we die. We would walk in, and immediately it was just sort of like we became ice cream sundaes or something, where I would like walk into a place and they would just be like, hello girls, and I was like, I'm 33 years old.
And there's also this habit of, like, we noticed that sometimes when people did this, there was this movement that it goes with hello girls. When someone says hello girls, they go, hello girls.
Even when they're shorter than us,
like,
we're like not short humans.
We're not.
And so it was sort of like, okay, all right, like, and we would get into the car and we would just be like, why was that weird? That was weird, right? Was that weird? And then eventually, like, it stopped making sense. Like, a lot of things on that trip stopped making sense eventually.
At some point, we got back in the car, and it was probably like the 5th, 6th, 7th time this had happened, and we just got in the car and were like silent for a second. And I looked over at Brittany, and I was like, for all those people know, we just robbed a bank.
Yeah, for all they know, we have like a body in the trunk. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just so interesting, this sort of like presumption of us being like sort of innocent and harmless.
And pleasant. It's like this, when somebody says hello girls, they say it kindly.
It's really interesting to map that kind of thing onto young adults and think about when you were 17 and 18 and you were trying to figure out who you needed to be. Yeah. And I think the case for these characters that we've written, they're both people who they're both girls who had to become adults quite young, and yet the world still sees them as harmless. The world still sees them as window dressing. The world still sees them as ice cream sundaes.
And as children.
As children.
I mean, and we also have been thinking a lot about, I mean, it's about to get potentially dark. Not too dark. But we've been thinking a lot about the fact that when you are a girl, there's this weird thing that happens where when you are a child, being a child comes second to being a girl. And what I mean by that is around the age of like 10 or so, I would say anywhere between like 9 and 14, you start having the experiences of like realizing that adult men are looking at you. You start having the experiences of like your neighbor drives past and honks at you and you think, maybe I won't wear shorts anymore. Or you're at the mall and like
somebody follows you.
And
you're like, I don't understand why this is happening. I'm going to Limited too.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, yeah, we both remember all of the first moments like that in our lives, and it's just this really weird experience where you don't get the full extended childhood in many ways that boys do. Very quickly you realize I am being seen like as an adult even though I am a child. I am being stripped of my like freedom and my innocence in many ways. And then there's this other strange thing that happens where you go straight from that to growing up, becoming an adult, and realizing, as long as I like present myself the way that I want to present myself, like, you know, I want to wear hot pink lipstick, I want to have like a neon pink manicure, as long as I do that, I am never going to be seen truly as a full adult either. And it's this really weird like liminal space where you're like, I never really got to be a kid, but I'll always be a girl. And we just really wanted to see how we could explore that with like, 17 and 18-year-old characters where they're kind of in between that in a very official way where they aren't really adults yet, but they're trying to become those adults. They're trying to find their own freedom and have control over their lives and their destinies, essentially.
So, like, what happens if you take your 18-year-old self to the gas station and ask for a lottery ticket and then tell the clerk who's been treating you like a kid, can you show me how to scratch it off? In this book, your best friend can go and like steal every last
Slim Jim
off the wall and make it out the back door while you're doing that.
Hey guys, I am back home from the signing and hanging out with Allie. I did have her sign a Study in Charlotte. I kind of started this as a spur of the moment because I actually didn't find out that Brittany Cavallaro and Emily Henry were going to be in my hometown until the day I went to go buy House of Salt and Sorrows. So I started this very spur of the moment because I was like, well, I might as well start it. It was an extremely quick audiobook. I really loved this. Like, this was way more explicit than I thought it was gonna be. Wow, like this cover does not like lend itself to being as explicit as it's gonna be. It's very intense and I really wasn't expecting it, but I loved it. I could never think to write like a Sherlock Holmes-esque character because that, I do not have the brain power for that. I am not smart enough for that. So I think she did a fantastic job. I really liked this. I have The Last of August right now up on my Libby app. I downloaded it immediately after I finished it. So I'm super excited to continue the series and I'm very happy I finally started it and I think it's going to be a great time. I also finished To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. Guys, I love this book so much. You guys know that this was my favorite book of 2018. In my head, I thought I was very biased in this book. So I wasn't like necessarily hesitant to recommend this book, but I was a little hesitant to say it because I didn't think other people would love it necessarily as much as I did, just because I am biased to mermaids, pirates, all that stuff. That is my favorite books to read about, is anything surrounding the sea. And so in my head, I was like, oh yes, I know the banter is really good in this, and I know it's a really dark retelling, but in my head I was always still cautious because I was like, oh, it's probably good, but it's probably like, people are not gonna like it as much. I don't know. I was so wrong and I should have trusted myself because I know what's right and I know what's good and I know quality literature. This is quality literature. Her writing is honestly has to be one of my favorites because it's pretty and it's kind of lyrical in a way, but every sentence packs a punch, if that makes sense. And it does it in a way that is in like normal people talking, like normal people language English. And she is able to do it using just like ordinary, not complex really writing or sentence structure, but her sentences are still powerful, if not more powerful than sentences like I don't know, like Madeline Miller's writing or J. Kristoff's writing or Laini Taylor's writing. Those kind of metaphorical, flowery writing that you're like, oh, this is really pretty, but also what the fuck are they trying to say? You know what I mean? This, you know what she's saying. She is saying it with her whole chest, and I just feel like that writing just makes it even more impactful. I also forgot to mention in my last vlog when I was showing you guys all of my presents that everybody got me, that Carly actually included an Elian candle, and it smells like laundry detergent, and I just love it. And it's very ironic because Elian doesn't shower, and that's canon, by the way. Like all pirates, he does not bathe, but I'm glad that they didn't make him smell like a stinky boy. Hey guys, it is like 2 a.m. right now, and I just finished Siege and Storm, so most of the day I didn't read it all, and then Carly and I started FaceTiming, but I finally sat down and I read the rest of this, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Like I said in my Goodreads review, which by the way my Goodreads is linked down in the description box at all times, I would say that a lot happens in like the first half. The first half is all takes place like on a ship. And I think the first half was absolutely the star of this book for sure. And then the second half, it does slow down a bit more, and you get more of like the war planning, I guess you could say. But despite not a ton of things happening in this book, as is the case for a lot of second books, I was never bored in this book. I really wasn't. I am really enjoying this reading of this trilogy. I really am just having a really fun time. I don't have any complaints technically. The only complaints I have is just that I literally despise Mal with every fiber of my being. I wish he chokes on his own tongue. I wish he dies painfully and slowly alone, with nobody to hear him scream. Can we tell I'm a Darkling stan? But like, at least the Darkling is like a villain. Like, we're supposed to like Mal, and that makes him even worse. The end fight scene, amazing. Like, it really is so good. Like, Alina is so fucking powerful, and the fact that she can be so powerful yet so insecure at the same time is beyond me, but I am just all here for this. I know I'm not gonna like Ruin and Rising because I know I'm not gonna like the ending because I already know what happens. Probably gonna give it a 1 star just for that, but hopefully everything except the ending is good, and even if it's not, I am 1 step closer to finally reading 6 of Crows. As soon as I put Ruin and Rising down, I'm picking up 6 of Crows, so I'm excited for myself for that. Hello. I am just feeling myself today. I was just like, you know what? I want to beat my face. And you know what I did? I beat my motherfucking face. It's Leo season. Self-care. I actually DNF'd a book earlier today. I DNF'd Jack of Thorns by Amelia Faulkner, I believe. I saw this on NetGalley last night, and I clicked on it because of the cover. Obviously. It said it was adult Percy Jackson, and obviously that's all I need to know. So I requested it. I got approved pretty much immediately. I started reading today, and I got literally 50% in because it wasn't great, but like I was like, let's see what happens. Once I got to that 50% mark, I was just like, this isn't worth it. I'm not intrigued. I don't care, and I'm annoyed. And the reason I was annoyed, well, first let me talk about the synopsis of the book. So basically, we follow two main characters. Our first main character is Lawrence, and he is a bisexual pagan who works in a flower shop. I was all about that. He is also, like, just a mess of a person. He is a drug addict, and he's got problems, but, you know, don't we all? He wasn't the problem with the book. I had a problem with our second main character, and our second main character was Quentin, and he is British aristocracy, and he escaped to San Diego, where the book is placed, in order to escape his past or whatever. He was so annoying. He talked in third person, so he would be like, one does not know, or one doesn't feel that way. Like, I'm just like, bitch, what the fuck are you? This is 2019 or 2016, I think is when the book came out, but it's getting like reprinted or something. I need to sit down because my arm is getting tired. So he talked in third person. He didn't understand like common American phrases like let's go hang out, and like getting your pants, and just like shit like that. He didn't realize he had to have an inner monologue about pants being the same as trousers. I'm just like, what? And then he didn't have a cell phone. And then I look up where the author is from, and she's from the UK. So I really have no idea what her idea was about this. If the book was just Lawrence's point of view, I would have been fine, but the fact that Quentin is in the story, and I believe they'll probably end up in a romance because Lawrence just talks about fucking him all the time. So I DNF'd that, and so yeah, that's been the only thing I've been reading today. And I know I need to finish Boneless Mercies. I know I need to. And it's not that I'm not enjoying it, it's just, it's a pretty slow book, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of a little too slow in my opinion. Ooh, I might have just said that out loud. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it picks up, once we get into the crooked things. What is going on with my hair? I always have hair problems. There's no surprise here. I just cannot handle hair at all. Give me some eyeshadow, give me some blending brushes, and I'll give you a fucking Michelangelo masterpiece. Give me some bobby pins and hair ties. This is what you get, folks. So I'm going to close off this vlog. I know I didn't get a whole lot of talking content, I guess, because I do have the signing included in this vlog, so I don't want to make it too long, so apologies, but next week will be way more boring than this one, so you'll get to hear me talk even longer. I'm sure you guys are super excited for that. But I am just going to close this vlog, as I said. So I finished 3 books this week, and I DNF'd 2. So let's go into the books I DNF'd first. I don't want to get it. It's all the way over there. It doesn't even matter. But I decided to DNF Boneless Mercies by April. I don't remember what her name is. You guys know, I've been reading it. Carly finished it. She gave it 3 out of 5 stars, and she basically gave me permission to DNF it. So I'm going to DNF that. And then I also DNF'd Jack of Thorns by Amelia Faulkner. Yeah, for reasons you guys know. The 3 books I did read, though, was A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Caballero. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. This was a reread for me, and of course I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And then I finished A Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo, which I also gave 4 out of 5 stars. And in the time that I have been away from you all, I have started to read Nevernight, and let me just tell you, it's been pretty successful. So tune in to my next vlog in order to get the tea on that, and I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog, and if you didn't, just tune in next week. Okay, bye.